Has a UFO actually stopped, intercepted and deactivated a nuke all whilst in midair? Well, that's what some US military whistleblowers have come forward to say. We're all very well aware of UFOs and extraterrestrials, but what we aren't aware of is their capabilities. Are they less capable than us as humans, or are they more? Well, this information that's just been released could answer that very question, with multiple US whistleblowers coming forward to reveal how a disc-shaped UFO intercepted nuclear missile and disabled it with, quote, laser beams in midair over California. And this is absolutely mind-boggling stuff. Now, this came to my attention from a Daily Mail article. You know, Daily Mail, take it with a pinch of salt, but this article was actually published on the 12th of February 2024. But I do believe that this whistleblowing thing did happen prior to 2024. I can't pin down an exact date as to when, but this isn't the first time that this has happened either. But this specific one, I believe, happened around 4 years ago. So it's not brand spanking new evidence, but it's new on my radar because of this article that's been written. So the article that's been written actually goes as stated. Multiple US military whistleblowers reveal how a disc-shaped UFO intercepted nuclear missiles and disabled it with, quote, laser beams in midair over California. The US military is in possession of video of a UFO apparently disabling a nuclear warhead during a routine test, according to multiple formal officials. They claim that the video in question captured a saucer-shaped craft circling the unarmed dummy warhead shortly after it was detached from the Atlas missile booster, then shooting 4 beams of light at the warhead, disabling it. Retired US Air Force Lieutenant Bob Jacobs and Major Florence Mansman claim to have viewed the recording in 1964 encounter before the tape went missing. So some kind of key points there. This actually happened back in 1964, this exact event, but it's only kind of come out recently. And the tape has mysteriously vanished. Now, make of that what you will. The conspiracy theorists among you will probably be like, it's a cover-up. And I have no doubt that you're probably not wrong, but I can only speculate. Anyway, there is a video that was circulating around the internet from the YouTube channel The Hill, who kind of go into a bit of depth on this situation and can put it in a far better way than I can without boring you.
Several former U.S. Air Force officers have shared that almost 70 years ago, they witnessed multiple unidentified aerial phenomenon sightings over 2 U.S. nuclear bases. Shockingly, the men also claimed that these 1964 aerial sightings occurred nearly simultaneously with the spontaneous immobilizing of the base's nuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles, suggesting that whatever or whoever was up there successfully disabled the ICBMs from above.
Friend of the show, Emily Jashinsky, attended a Tuesday press conference held at the National Press Club in Washington, where a panel of former USAF officers detailed those incidents and others like them. According to Emily's reporting, the group called for congressional investigations into the sightings and said they felt they had been ignored previously.
Now, that obviously doesn't come as a surprise, feeling like they've been ignored, because, you know, up until Arrow was created, which was actually a congressional thing, which was a task force put together to have these eyewitness accounts being looked into, you know, this was very much swept under the rug. But what's interesting is that there's not just 1 or 2, there are several officials coming forward to kind of validate this experience, which, you know, almost adds to the validity of this experience.
A former officer told the debrief at the event, quote, "Now the question is, will the government tell us the truth about what they've known now for decades?" So, look, obviously I tend to be more skeptical, I think, than anyone else involved in producing this show for our viewers, that aliens are real and doing things. I do think they're China, Russia, you know, other governments with technologies or that have been a little ahead of ours that we've been different, not understood. That is a reality. I don't know about the aliens, but what do you think, Kim?
Well, I mean, look, this has been reported on for a long time, over a decade. There are many other people, Robert Hastings, Dr. Stephen Greer, they have been bringing up the sightings and witnesses to these sightings, and the fact that there have been numerous accounts from some of our top military officials, people that we've trusted with nukes. I mean, if we trust them with nukes, they're clearly not crazy people. And they have been testifying, saying that, look, there is something is blowing up nukes out when we send them out into space. They're getting blown up, essentially, or they're being disabled.
That's a real interesting point, actually, that she raises there. Like, you know, if we're trusting these people with nuclear warheads, we can trust them, like, you know, to kind of put out this valid story. But what is disabling these these nuclear warheads? Like, what's got the capabilities? You know, like, we as human beings would probably be aware if it was another country doing it, but maybe not, I don't know. But you know, I think it would be more likely to be reported on if it was another country, as opposed to, we don't know what's doing it.
Our nuclear facilities are being disabled, and this is something that has been reported by not only the United States, but other nuclear countries as well. And their thinking is that there is something out there that is an alien, you know, not of this world life form that is monitoring the United States. They say that the monitoring of the nukes and the disabling of the nukes happened since the U.S. dropped the nukes, 2 of them on Japan. And the theory is that that event resonated out in the universe, and the more intelligent life form says, what the heck are those humans doing? And they came down, you know, and they were monitoring us, and they said, okay, you guys are dangerous, because whatever it is you're doing is dangerous for the universe, not just for your space in the world or in the universe. And they started to monitor and start to disable. And since then, whenever we've put nukes out there, out into space, things have happened. Nuclear sites are being disabled, and so.
Now, I think we're kind of delving into the realms of conspiracy there with that part. But, you know, I'm going to leave that video there. It kind of gives you in a bit of a nutshell what's been going on. But what's interesting is the fact that this just didn't happen on one occasion. This happened on multiple occasions over, you know, decades long periods. It's not just it happened once and it was a phenomenon where you'd be like, whoa. This has happened repeatedly, and we still don't have any explanation as to why this is actually happening. Now, as of this point in the video, we're going by hearsay. I found a video, though, from an actual whistleblower, if you will, Robert Salas, or Bob Salas, who was one of the officials who came forward to kind of testify about this on an ETV Haskovo YouTube video, and it looks to be a bit more of an interview style thing, but we're going to take a look at it because some of the things that he talks about within this are quite eye-raising, to say the least.
Nostrum Air Base in 1967. At that time you were missile launch officer for 10 nuclear warheads.
Yes, I was there as on a combat crew. We had control of 10 nuclear missiles, and sometime in the evening I was in command, and I received a phone call from my guards upstairs because we were underground, and he said that they were seeing strange lights in the sky, flying very fast and stopping and reversing course and making maneuvers that they didn't think aircraft could make. So I was not, didn't consider his comments seriously, I guess. And so I basically hung up the phone. And then he called back 5 minutes later, and this time he was very frightened, very scared, shouting into the phone, saying that he had his guards there, and they were seeing a oval-shaped orange-red object hovering just above the gate of our facility. And he was frightened and wanted me to tell him what to do. What should he do? And so I said something like, make sure nothing comes in, use force if necessary, but we had to protect the weapons that we had. So
Now, that's obviously the first red flag within all of this, is these objects that were sighted by the guards who then notified Bob, who was, first of all, didn't take it seriously, and then secondly was like, oh, okay, you know, like the second reporting is like, that's a bit strange. But what he goes on to then talk about is even stranger.
He hung up the phone, and I went to tell my commander about this phone call. And as I was speaking to him, the missiles went into inoperable condition, what we called no-go. They could not be launched, and we lost all 10 of them while this object was still above us.
Now, that poses more questions than answers, obviously. First of all, this is underground. All of these nuclear weapons are underground. So whatever it was not just able to, you know, do it out in space like it has been reported to be able to do, or in midair. This actually happened, it would have had to hover above the fence, beam through the ground, through into the facility, and then disable it from the inside. That's mind-boggling. If it happens to just one warhead out of 10, you'd say, that's just, you know, it's just a fluke. But for it to happen to 10, all at the same time, all of them to become inoperable, that's got to be something more.
I reported this to the command post, and they told him the same thing had happened at another site, although it was a week earlier. But they also lost 10 missiles due to this object. So I report on this, and later we were told never to speak about this. And we actually had to sign a document.
Now that is obviously the most alarming part, is they've reported on this, you know, they've gone to their higher ups and they've been like, look, it's not just our station, we've lost 20 nuclear warheads now through the same object, and they are told to stay silent, not to utter a word about it. That is disturbing.
Document stating that we would never talk about this publicly. The only reason I was able to eventually talk about it is because of a book that I picked up many years later, 1994, that talked about such an incident at Malmstrom in 1967. That's when I started inquiring to the Air Force, the U.S. Air Force, about documents they had about the incident. I didn't say anything about a UFO, but they started sending me documents and declassified the incident. And that's when I was able to publicly discuss it.
Could you give us some more information about the patrol that saw the lights, how they described them, what they saw actually?
They said it was very bright, about 40 feet, I don't know how many meters that is, but 40 feet long, just silently sitting above the gate to our facility. So we're talking, the gate was about, I'd say about 10 or 12 feet high. So this would have been no noise, no sound.
And just like no object of...
Now this is obviously a consistent story throughout multiple UFO sightings, is the no sound, no noise, you don't hear a thing, but it just kind of hovers. Now for it to be 40 foot wide, that's, I don't know, what's that? About the length, maybe a bit more than the length of a full football pitch. I'm thinking in terms of UK football. I know a lot of my viewers are from America, so soccer pitch. I don't know. I think that's about the width of a full-blown professional pitch. So that kind of gives you the sheer scale of this thing. Surely that was far more intimidating than this guy's making out.
Some shape.
It was hard to see a shape, but the main guard told me later that it seemed oval shaped.
The light was like oval shaped.
Yes, there seemed to be some structure there, although it was so bright he couldn't see very well. Yeah, he couldn't see very well.
And this was seen by all the guards?
Yes,
How many were there?
6 guards.
And did you get up there to
No.
see yourself?
No, because we were locked in. We had to protect our missiles, so we could not leave to go upstairs. We were 60 feet underground.
What were the
Wow. 60 foot underground, and this thing was at least 12 foot above the ground. Maybe let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's say about 20 foot above the ground, because he said it was hovering above the fence, and he said the fences were between 10 and 12 foot. So let's say 20 feet up in the air. Then you hit ground level, and then you've got to go 60 feet deep to get to the base itself. And I'm assuming that around the base there will be some form of reinforced protection, you know, in case of radiation leakage and stuff like this. So most likely lead, because, you know, lead stops radiation. I know that from Indiana Jones, but you got to think that thing has beamed 80 foot down, got through whatever they've reinforced this underground base with, and then managed to disable 10 nuclear warheads without making any noise. And it also happened at another base a week prior. Let that just sink in for a moment.
characteristics of these warheads that you're protecting, that you have command of?
Yeah, these are nuclear weapons at the time. I forget how many kilotons, but at least 300 kilotons, maybe more, of power, the force of each weapon. Yeah.
And what kind of feeling did you experience then? Fear, amazement about this accident?
I was shocked. I was shocked. I felt at first that it was some sort of an attack. We were under an attack of some sort. That's what I felt. So we were very concerned. But then when we realized what it was, we were just shocked. They did not, the UFO, although it shut down the weapons so that they couldn't be used, they did not destroy anything. They did not hurt the weapons themselves. We had a inertial guidance system in the missile warhead, and all they did was upset that guidance system so that we would have to reorient the missile. So we had to send maintenance crews out to each of the missile sites to reorient the missiles on target.
And why do you have no doubt that this is an UFO and not some object from Earth or something, some kind of experiment or maybe?
No, we asked.
Now this is a brilliant question, because I would have asked the exact same thing. Like, you know, I mean, thinking back to, you know, the 1960s, the technology is definitely not what it is now. So first of all, that's probably your first red flag that it's not of, it wouldn't be of the era, but it's not uncommon for these things to be, you know, interplanetal, you know, like begrudged countries, especially, you know. So, you know, the answer that he gives, though.
First of all, we asked our commander if this was some sort of exercise or some demonstration of some sort. He said absolutely not. But the object was able to do things that no airplane could do. It flew very fast across the sky. Stop. Dead stop. Reverse course.
And this is the story of the guards?
Yes. Story of the guards. And plus, as far as we were concerned, what it was able to do was send a specific signal through 60 feet of earth and concrete. Invisible signal, penetrate the cables we had, penetrate the cables and send a specific signal to each missile to upset a particular piece of equipment.
These cables were not connected to anything else?
And they were connected to individual missiles separately.
You mean only the command post and the missiles? That's the only connection?
That's correct. That's correct. So there was nothing that we knew that could cause this. And even the Air Force admitted at the time they couldn't understand how this happened. The conclusion was that it was external generated signal, like I described, from outside the system. It wasn't an error inside the system, and that it was, I think, extremely unlikely that this should happen or could happen. They could not explain it. They've never been able to explain it.
And after declassifying the documents about this case, you requested them, and what was it?
Now that, I think, is the biggest talking point. The fact that they couldn't explain it, and to this day still can't explain it. And also, we can't take away from the fact that several people, 6 guards, had the same story about an oval UFO over the base at the time that this would have happened, and then moments later 10 nuclear warheads were disabled through no internal issues, all external. And like, it's, and like I said at the start of the video, I'm going to stop it there. If you want to check out the full interview, that's just kind of the crux of it. If you want to check out the full interview, I'll leave a link to it down in the description. But like, you've got to think, this isn't the first and only time that this has ever happened. This has been documented throughout history with multiple people coming forwards to say nuclear warheads were disabled. Nuclear warheads were disabled. Now, I'm sure it wasn't just nuclear warheads that were disabled the entire time, but what is very, very interesting is here. So on your screens now, there is a graphic recreation of what happened in the 1964 video when the UFO allegedly intercepted the Atlas rocket over the Pacific Ocean. Now, this is a very different encounter. This is actually one that did make it into space, like what was being explained in the first interview we watched. The second one was the only interview I could find with someone who was like of a high rank within the military system talk about it, because I felt like they were probably the most credible to hear out. But on your screens right now, this is what you're seeing. So apparently a disc-shaped craft circles the warhead, and you can see how it circles by the yellow path. 2 US Air Force officers see the UFO after warhead detaches from the missile. The UFO appears to fire 4 beams at the warhead. Now, bear in mind, this is apparently what the video itself that gone missing shows. The dummy nuclear warhead then fires off. You've then got this main compartment which obviously propels it. The Atlas rocket flying at 8,000 miles per hour over the Pacific Ocean, launching from Vandenberg, California. I think that's what it says. I can't see for the oh, there we go. Vandenberg Air Force Base, California. So that apparently shows what the video showed that apparently went missing. Now, make of this what you will. I saw this, and I know it's older news, and I'm not trying to claim that it's brand new, you know, anything like that, but I saw it and I thought, this is wild, and I guarantee this won't be the last time we hear about something like this happening. I guarantee there will be more things that happen like this, and it was just such a bizarre, bonkers story. And if I couldn't find any footage of people talking about it, I wouldn't have bothered sharing it. But because I found someone who was high ranking in Robert Salas, I thought I've got to talk about this. This is bonkers. But I now hand it over to you guys. What do you make of it? Is it an internal situation or internal issue with the warheads? Is it actually aliens? If it is aliens, what's their purpose? Are they doing this to try and, I don't know, stop mankind from just destroying itself with nuclear warheads? Or is there a greater purpose? Are they trying to disable human issues in case of an invasion? I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I want to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. And while you're down there, be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button. Subscribe if you have not already, and tickle my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts and opinions. And until next time, I hope that you've enjoyed the video, and I will spook to you later. Peace.